Amy's here. We're hanging out at Bush Wildlife Sanctuary. We're trying to get Oliver to give us a hoot. That would have been really cool.
She's thinking about it.
She is? No, I guess not. In case you haven't figured out, I am here with Amy Kite at the good old Bush Wildlife Sanctuary. And right now, today, we're actually going to be focusing on all the good work they do with some of the animals that are native here to Florida. And that's what you guys are known for.
Yes.
Aside from a place in the community that you can come visit and see some of these ambassador animals, what Bush Wildlife really does is work with these injured animals and tries to get them back out into the wild. What's Ollie's story?
So Oliver is one of the few animals that's actually been here longer than me.
Okay.
So I've been here since 2004, and
Oh
she
my gosh.
predates me. And she, oh, you're thinking about it. Hi. And she probably actually, she's like, don't tell my age. Ladies don't do that to each other.
Oh my gosh.
She probably is actually a mid-1990s kid, because that's when they
Really?
outlawed the radical amputation. So if you notice, Ollie only has one wing.
Okay.
She came in as a baby to us, and unfortunately, her one wing had been basically torn off by some kind of animal out there. So it had to be amputated, and she has been one of our educational birds ever since. Ollie has eye issues, as you can see. She's got real bad cataract.
baby.
She's got some kidney function issues. She's got a heart condition, and most of it's due to old age at this point.
Gotcha.
And so what happened was avian influenza broke, which has been spreading all throughout all of our avian species.
That's recently?
In the past year,
Okay.
year and a half. Lots of die-offs among poultry and ducks. And one of the animals that's susceptible would be a barred owl, which Oliver is. And so Oliver had retired from living outside to living in our hospital, and we called her the office manager. And then when the flu really broke out and we started seeing cases coming into the hospital, to keep Ollie safe, we had to move her out of the hospital.
Okay.
So she became now our office owl.
That's why she's the office manager.
Yeah,
Okay,
everybody
very-
should have an owl in their office, you know?
You mentioned something earlier that piqued my interest, and this was the radical amputation. What did they outlawed this?
Yeah.
What happened there?
So they used to allow you to, and when I say they, I mean government, you know,
Okay.
U.S. Fish and Wildlife would actually
Let you amputate all the way up to the shoulder.
Okay.
So all is from shoulder down.
completely gone on the one side.
Okay.
What started happening was they started noticing a lot of animals really couldn't adapt to that very well. They would have phantom limb issues. They'd have
wow.
balance issues. And so they outlawed that in the mid-90s. Now the furthest you can go is up to an elbow and still keep
interesting.
the animal as an ambassador.
Okay.
So the fact that Ollie is a radical amputee, that tells me that she's probably been here since the mid-90s.
Incredible.
So she's in her 30s at this point. Or
That's
pushing it.
for this particular species. That's a long time.
It's a long time. Yeah, she's definitely on the older end. I mean, you've got those outliers that are mid-30s
Okay.
and such, you know, but Ollie, and especially considering that, like I said, as she has aged, she has a lot of other issues going on
Right.
that just happen with age. But,
Yeah, but whenever you have an animal for that long, they become part of the family. And how many countless shows has she's been a part of, right? How
Forever.
many people exactly?
Forever, you know?
It's
and
just
not
incredible.
to mention now, like, because she's in here and social media and everything has gotten so big,
Yeah.
and all of our keepers now are so savvy on it. I
Yeah.
can't even imagine how many people she's touched.
That's really
between
cool.
all of our staff and volunteers.
And now the funny thing about the owl is she's mostly plumage, right? Like
Oh,
if,
yeah.
if we were to strip her, she would take on the appearance of another bird of prey usually, right?
Yeah, or just like, I mean, almost like a little chicken.
That's really.
Yeah. If you actually, let's
so
see if
soft,
she'll let me
actually.
here. You can actually stick your finger in.
Okay.
And you can see this is all just feather.
So, I mean, by the time I'm actually touching the actual bird, you can see my whole finger is all the way in those feathers.
And the way her feathers are built, they're built for silence.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look close, you can see all the feathers, and it's really easy to kind of see on her because obviously with this side here exposed, which it normally isn't, they are fringed. So the feathers are all fringed, and that's what makes her silent when she flies. Instead of the wind hitting into them, it just blows right through them.
That's incredible.
So normally, if this were a bird we were trying to get back out in the wild, we wouldn't touch it because the oils on her hands would make that fringe stick together and could actually impair them. But Oliver's not going anywhere, and she's gotten very used to being handled because she gets multiple times a day eye drops and oral medication. So she's really
gosh.
desensitized to touch for her own medical benefit.
Well, I appreciate you spending time with us there, Ollie. We're going to go meet some of the other animals here at the sanctuary. We're going to go on over to the hospital. I want to show you guys all the cool things that they're doing for animals here in the community. And actually, you guys have had national impact when you go to some of these bigger shows up in other parts of the country and let people know about the plight that our native Florida animals are going through. So let's go see some more good work they're doing. See you, Ollie. Oh man, we're inside the hospital and you see it's not just owls and birds, it's reptiles and sometimes exotics. This is a Russian tortoise.
Yes.
Testudo horsefield eye, that's the latest Latin. Okay, getting nerdy, but we've got animals everywhere, man. You guys, this is where they'd help me with Buttercup. We brought Fred Snake here to x-ray. We've done x-rays, I think, on Slinky.
I think we had Slinky.
Yeah,
I know we've had a couple of sulcatas.
Yeah, I brought sulcatas. They've been just very helpful to me. But all these eastern, look at this. We got a Florida box turtle right here. So these are all animals that were brought in that might have been hit by a car or injured or something going on.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
And as you can see, weright now we're using our surgical suite. Miss Megan's in here working.
Hi, Megan. How you doing? Sorry to trouble you.
So we're using our surgical suite actually as our triage room because we've completely outgrown our hospital, which hence the need for the move.
So each one of these boxes has an animal that needs attention.
Yes.
And how the triage is deciding who needs the attention first, right? I want to show people exactly what you guys are doing here because it's so important to work. These are all Florida native animals that, otherwise without Bush being in the community, these animals would just be left to die. Yep. There'd be no place for these animals to go. So the good people here are actually getting hands-on. Go ahead and show us what we got going on here.
So it looks like you got 2 screech owls, and they fell from a tree. So I don't know.
If they were cutting the tree or if they cut the tree down.
Oh, bummer.
Okay, why am I not able to
Well, you do have a healing broken
Yeah, I know. Miss Megan helped me.
So she's got
at the other end.
Look, she's got a broken limb herself, a broken wing there.
But here's these 2 little ones.
Oh my gosh.
And this is what happens a lot. I'm just going to be a little quieter with their exposed. But this is what quite often happens is right before hurricane season, which we're getting ready to head into, everybody's cutting the dead trees in their neighborhood because they want to keep their home safe in case of a storm. That's where these guys nest.
Right.
So all of a sudden they cut down a tree that's dead or dying, and then they realize there was a nest of babies inside of it.
Oh, that's incredible.
And if we can get them to re-nest them, that's always the goal. But we have a feeling these guys might have suffered some injury, so that's why they're gonna.
Oh no! So what would be, Megan? What would be something to, how do you go about caring or even identifying that these animals kind of need the most help? Number one, because they're infants, because they are hatchlings.
And their injuries. One's got a pretty bad eye thing. You can see some neuro signs on them. They should be a little bit more alert. So.
Okay.
At the young age too.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, so this is awesome. We're really getting deep into neurological issues. You guys are really, it's so awesome that we get to hang out with people that are so focused on animals like that. And that's what this channel is all about, is really getting deep in there. So little things that I know about reptiles, like when if a lizard is shaking a little bit, it could be suffering some kind of neurological issue. But birds,
can be
totally
the same
different.
thing with them.
Can they really?
They
Yeah,
can have that wobbly head. You can get the nystagmus, where the eyes are kind of quaking back and forth.
Interesting.
Not able to hold their head up.
There you go.
Falling over, or even sometimes if you roll them on their back and they can't correct
themselves. It's interesting, man. Birds are reptiles.
Yeah.
Let's be real. They're warm-blooded. They're endothermic. But that feather
they're all
is a modifier. They're dinosaurs, exactly. So it's really cool. But I'm guessing these are just what people bring the animals in. So what's in here?
A cardinal.
Oh, wow. So it's a lot of birds right now, it seems like. Huh?
About 50% of our patients are birds.
Really?
Well, because you've got your raptors,
Yep.
you've got your water birds, you've got your songbirds. There's just a lot of different species of birds that come through here. The number one thing we get as far as the greatest quantity of any species is possums every year.
Oh, wow.
But birds definitely all the bird species make up about 50% of our annual intake.
It's crazy. So you guys see that they've kind of outgrown their current digs.
Let's see, there's 2 screech owls in there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 new animals at minimum, and it's only 1 o'clock.
Wow.
Today.
And most of the time when people drop these animals off, they're just dropping the animal off. You got to remember, there's a financial component to all this. And most people, they think they're being kind, and they are. It's good to get the animal.
Yeah.
But if you can leave anything, a few bucks, something that can help with the care of those animals, that will go a long way. And I don't think that gets, you guys aren't necessarily begging, I'll beg for you. So when you go to a sanctuary, if you bring an animal, if you can, please leave some kind of financial component, because there's the salaries, there's the medication, all this stuff.
The cleaning supplies,
exactly.
And if they turn out to be an animal that's going to be an ambassador with us, that can be like Oliver.
Right.
Decades of care that goes into taking care of that animal.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, what else we got? Thank you, Megan. I appreciate you letting us disrupt the hard work that you're doing.
We have nursery going on in here.
Nursery.
So we'll stay just a little on the quiet side too. This is kind of neat. I'm not sure what Dom's getting ready to feed.
Does Dom have a head? Because he's completely camouflaged.
We don't want the animals to look at us and think that we're their friends. So we'll wear these masks. So this is like a ghillie suit mask, so that these animals, while they're getting fed, they're not looking at a human. When we release them, they're not going to go out there thinking, "Oh, person, you feed me."
That's fantastic.
So we've got owl masks that we wear when we're feeding baby owls. We've got the ghillie masks when we're feeding other ones. It sounds like he's got some songbirds down here.
How long have you been implementing this technique?
For a few years now.
Have you? Yeah, because this is, I haven't actually seen this. This is really cool.
So this is something that, to try to mitigate that response and that they think they're dependent on humans.
Okay, very cool. And then
you've got
baby squirrels.
We've got squirrels, cottontails, marsh rabbits, doves. I'm sure there's opossums in here somewhere.
Yeah,
He's the whole thing.
everywhere.
So they're just kind of stacked everywhere.
That's incredible, but my gosh. Now, are the lights UV lights?
Yes.
They are.
Yep.
So these mammals even still need natural sunlight?
Yeah, because they've got to have that proper absorption. Even if you're giving them extra calcium for good, strong bones, if they don't have the vitamin D, their body's not going to absorb it and process it properly.
That's amazing.
So we'll do a combination of things. We'll use the UV lights in here, and then we also will work with our volunteers to actually take them outside and get them direct sunlight. Even though they're nocturnal, they would still be getting sunlight in the wild anyway.
Absolutely.
So we got to make sure we supplement that so we don't end up with a bunch of animals with metabolic bone disease.
That's incredible. I never knew that mammals could suffer metabolic bone disease that way.
You'll start getting, like a possum who its legs will start bowing in.
Wow.
Or, all of a sudden their hip bone, it didn't form quite right, so the ball and socket aren't lining up well enough. And of course, that's an animal that needs to be able to avoid predators.
Yeah.
Be able to climb, be able to look for food. And so if they've got these deformities, it's really going to hinder them.
How do you know an animal is going to be successful candidate for release?
I mean, a number of things. If it's a bird, can it fly?
Okay.
Does it eat well? Does it hunt on its own? Kind of the last stage before we let them go is setting up like a mock nature situation.
Copy.
Bury a bunch of bugs and everything. Can they forage for them? Can they catch crickets? We actually have camping tents, and we'll fill it full of crickets that are jumping around, and then put the birds in, and if they can fly and actually jump up to grab the crickets right out of the air.
That's actually a really good idea.
It worked. I thought these guys came up with it, and it was like, can we buy some camping tents? I'm like, what, are you going to live here? And they're like, no, I think it would work, and it's worked out beautifully.
Like
even if
small
they hit the wall,
aviaries,
it's not going to hurt them. It's a soft,
This is really
but
good
it keeps
stuff.
the crickets from escaping.
For any of you rehabbers out there looking for a new technique, this is how we share our husbandry skills. We share everything to make the animals' lives better. So that's really, really cool, man. Good work, mate. I'll see you later, dude. I tend to talk loud, so I don't want to upset the baby birds, but this is incredible, man.
So then once they move out of the nursery, they're actually going to go, this was our exam room, but it's overflow now.
Okay.
So this is where once they're a little bit bigger and they're starting to eat on their own, they'll move into this room. And this is kind of like, if you're looking at daycare, like the toddler room.
Yep, gotcha.
So again, we're making sure that they're eating well, starting to climb around more. So we've got them out of the more protected bins. They're starting to climb, starting to build up more muscle. And then from this point, they'll move outside, get used to the weather, get more sunlight, and really make sure that, at that point, we won't be chopping up fruits and veggies anymore.
Right.
We'll just, throw a banana with peel in there, because we grow bananas here in Florida.
Right.
And you got to learn how to open one. You're not going to find it cut up in little pieces in a platter. They've got to know how to recognize actual food that they're going to find out in the wild again. So there's the squirrels, the opossums, doves, things, I don't know.
I don't know what that is. It's a dove.
It looks like a white dove. So again, these are one of those soft-sided
Kennels.
Yeah.
This is probably an adult that came in that was already injured in some way, and so that way it's not bouncing off the walls,
Right.
possibly hurting itself.
A lot of times they fly into windows, right?
Yeah. Yep, they do.
And it's just kind of like you or I. They knock themselves kind of loopy.
Yeah.
Hopefully, a couple days of anti-inflammatories and some supplemental
Get them back
fluids.
going.
Just get them back on their feet again, and then kick them out.
It's a lot of work, guys. It's overwhelming for me. I haven't been here. It's been a few months since I
been a
visited.
while.
Because these guys have been really working hard towards a new goal. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in another video, but you are getting a new place. We'll go into it. We're actually going to go visit that place, so stay tuned for the next video because it's going to be involving a close friend of ours, Freddie, the alligator. So just a little carrot I'm dangling there for you in the next video. But where are we heading to next in this one?
Well, next door.
We want to walk through the bleach?
I'll be honest, I'm just going to kind of open the door for us. So we were talking about, we took Oliver over to our
Yes.
office because of the avian influenza. And this is our quarantine room that we have for avian influenza. So really, anybody that's going in this room right now is doing full PPE when you
forget
enter
it
the
then,
room.
yeah.
So
Got it.
I'll just kind of crack the door. We've got foot baths here, so you have to,
Right, step
sanitize your
in,
feet.
copy
Exactly.
that.
Then you put full gear on, hairnet, masks, gowns,
Really?
everything.
So
Yes.
it's almost like the CDC.
Pretty much.
But
Well,
you
we're
guys are
following our CDC guidelines,
pretty more locked down than Wuhan.
Pretty much.
I hear you.
Yeah, you got
All
it.
right, let's see.
So this is just our intensive care unit.
Wow.
Right now, I guess we got it stripped down there. Sorry.
That's okay.
As they
but
move animals around.
That's
But
it,
yeah,
things
but
get
this
moved.
but this room is just strictly blocked off for that,
cool.
And then once you've gone in here until you're desanitized or sanitized again, you can't go in any other room because
Gotcha.
it is so highly pathogenic.
So much work, and that's why I think eggs have gotten expensive and all these.
Oh,
other-
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, so many of the
Chicken.
farms, unfortunately, have had to, what they call it culling, unfortunately, when they have to kill their entire flock because one bird gets it. And
Wow. That's
yeah,
crazy.
so it's really affected just our way of life, even
Right.
if you're not an animal person. And then when you get down into a level of that, it's
That's hard.
crazy. We even had to take our eagles off of exhibit because,
Really?
well, one of the main carriers is vultures. And the vultures used to
Come in.
love and come and hang out with the eagles. And we finally took the eagles and we moved them off exhibit, put them in one of our flight cages to keep them safe. Because if the vultures came in and were contaminated, they would kill our eagle population.
So much work. How you doing? This lady is like running around all over the
This
place.
is why we haven't hung out in
Yeah,
months.
it's been a long time. Well, listen, I'm going to go ahead and say that we're going to leave a little link in the description of this video. If you guys want to help the mission of Bush Wildlife, we'll leave a link in the description. You can go, you can donate.
Awesome.
Any little bit helps. But we look forward to another video
Yes.
that we'll be shooting here where we're going to be talking about the new facility. So
know.
big things happening. And of course, Kamp Kenan, the Army here, my friends out there, we love coming over here. You guys have been such a big part of what we've been doing. So we can expect to be doing more at the new facility and keep up the good work. And heal that arm up. She got kicked in the arm by a horse. Look at it. Broke it in half. It's a tough lady right there. Good old Amy. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and look for that link in the description below. See you guys.